Have you ever felt like you're studying hard but forgetting everything the next day?
That's the intermediate plateau, and it's where most language learners quit. But here's the thing, it's completely fixable.
Today, we're breaking down why consistency beats intensity every single time. I've tested this on myself and the results surprised me.
We'll share the exact system that transforms frustrating stagnation into quiet fluency. No marathon study sessions required.
Plus, we'll reveal the neuroscience behind why your brain actually prefers shorter daily practice over cramming.
And we'll follow Maria's journey from plateau to breakthrough. Her story might sound familiar to you.
Let's unlock the power of consistency. I'm Alex.
And I'm Emma. Let's dive in.
So here's Maria's real problem. She studies hard every day.
But she forgets everything quickly, right?
Precisely. And there's actual science behind this frustration.
Oh, I know this one. We forget 70% of information within 24 hours.
70%. That's brutal. So Maria learns 10 new words today.
Tomorrow, she remembers only 3. That's why she feels stuck.
And here's the phrase for this feeling: stuck in a rut.
Stuck in a rut. What does rut mean?
A rut is like a deep hole in the road.
So stuck in a rut means no progress, no movement forward.
Perfect. Maria is stuck in a rut with her English.
But wait, there's something worse happening here, the intermediate plateau.
Ah, the plateau. That's when progress feels incredibly slow.
Getting from A2 to B1 takes 200 guided study hours.
200 hours? That's like studying 1 hour daily for 7 months.
And during those months, you barely notice improvement. It's invisible.
So what happens? Intermediate learners quit? They give up completely.
Because slow, visible gains feel like no gains at all.
Maria studies hard, forgets 70%, sees no progress, feels stuck.
This is the plateau problem, and it's totally normal.
Normal doesn't mean unfixable.
Right, because Maria's approach is missing one critical element.
So here's something I tested last month that completely changed how I think about practice time. I met this woman named Maria who was spending 3 hours every Sunday trying to cram English study. Guess what happened?
Let me guess, she'd forget most of it by Wednesday?
Bingo. But then she switched to just 15 minutes daily. Same total time per week, completely different results. The research backs this up. 15 minutes daily actually beats one 3-hour weekly session.
Wait, that seems counterintuitive. Why would shorter sessions work better?
Think about your brain like a muscle. If you lift weights for 3 hours straight, you're not building strength, you're just exhausting yourself. Short sessions prevent mental fatigue and learner burnout.
I've noticed this with my own experiments. After about 20 minutes of intense focus, my retention drops off a cliff. But if I stop at 15 minutes, I'm still sharp.
There's another benefit most people miss. Daily practice improves executive brain function and focus. It's not just about the English. You're literally training your brain to concentrate better.
So what did Maria actually do in those 15 minutes? Because I think people hear 15 minutes and assume it won't be enough.
Little by little. It means making small progress consistently. Monday, she'd practice one conversation. Tuesday, review it and add one new phrase. Wednesday, use both in sentences.
Little by little. That's the opposite of how most people approach learning. They want massive progress immediately.
True, but here's the optimization insight. Those 15-minute sessions compound. After 1 month, Maria had practiced 30 times instead of 4 times. More repetitions, less burnout, better retention.
I'm curious about the practical setup. How do you make sure you actually do 15 minutes every day? Because consistency is the hard part.
Maria linked it to her morning coffee. Coffee brews, she practices English. The key is making it so small that skipping feels harder than doing it. That's smart. You're not relying on motivation. You're designing the environment. What happened after she made the switch? Within 2 weeks, she noticed she could recall phrases without thinking. Her brain had time to process between sessions. That's what daily practice does. It gives your brain recovery time while keeping the skill active. So the real optimization isn't about finding more time. It's about using less time more frequently. Correct. And here's what surprised me most. Maria said the 15-minute sessions felt easier, so she actually looked forward to them. Compare that to dreading a 3-hour Sunday marathon.
The psychology matters as much as the neuroscience. If something feels sustainable, you'll actually stick with it.
Which brings up an interesting question about what happens in your brain during those gaps between practice sessions. So here's where most people mess up. They learn a new word, feel great about it, then never see it again. Maria figured out something different.
She reviews her new words the very next morning, not a week later, not when she feels like it, the next day. That timing matters more than people think.
And the data backs this up. Spaced review, meaning you review at specific intervals, boosts memory retention to 80%. That's not a small improvement.
Huge difference, but here's what I love about Maria's approach. She doesn't just read her notes again, she tests herself.
Active recall. Instead of passively looking at the word, she covers the definition and tries to remember it, forces her brain to work.
Precisely, and research shows active retrieval deepens memory way more than passive reading. You're not just recognizing the word, you're pulling it from your brain.
I tested this myself with Spanish vocabulary. Reading my flashcards felt productive, but I'd forget everything. The moment I started covering the answers and forcing myself to recall, night and day difference.
That struggle is the learning. Your brain has to reconstruct the memory, which makes it stronger each time.
So Maria's morning routine is simple. Coffee, 5 minutes of active recall with yesterday's words. One phrase she practiced was, get used to, meaning to become comfortable with something.
Perfect example. She'd cover her notes and ask herself, how do I say becoming comfortable with something? Then she tried to use it in a sentence.
Like, I need to get used to waking up early. Not just memorizing the definition, actually using it.
And here's a bonus tip Maria discovered. She does a quick review right before bed too. Turns out reviewing before sleep helps the brain consolidate learning overnight.
Your brain literally processes and strengthens those memories while you sleep. So she's getting double the benefit, morning active recall plus nighttime consolidation.
The system is so simple it almost feels too easy, but that's the point. It's sustainable.
No fancy apps required, just a notebook and 2 5-minute sessions, morning test, evening review.
And because she's actually testing herself, she knows immediately which words stuck and which ones need more work. No false confidence.
That feedback loop is critical. You can't optimize what you don't measure. Now, this review system worked great for vocabulary, but Maria hit another challenge when she tried to actually speak. All right, let's pause here, because I think we need to talk about the one thing that actually matters more than any hack, any app, any perfect study plan. The thing nobody wants to hear, but everyone needs to understand. Consistency beats intensity every single time. I've tested this with language learning, with fitness, with literally everything I've tried to master, and it's always the same pattern.
You know what's wild? People will do a 3-hour study marathon on Sunday, feel amazing about themselves, then do nothing for 6 days, and they wonder why they're not improving.
But here's what actually works. 15 minutes every single day beats 3 hours once a week. Not because of the total time, though that matters too. It's about how your brain actually builds neural pathways.
This is where the science gets really compelling. Your brain needs repetition, not just hard effort. Think of it like watering a plant. You can't dump a bucket of water on it once a week and expect it to thrive.
That's a perfect analogy. And I learned this the hard way. I used to think intensity was everything. Push harder, study longer, grind more. But that's not how memory consolidation works.
Your brain literally needs sleep cycles between practice sessions to move information from short-term to long-term memory. That's why cramming doesn't stick. You're not giving your brain time to process.
So here's the mentor moment. The thing I wish someone had told me years ago. Don't be perfect. Just be present every day.
I love that because perfectionism is the enemy of consistency. People think they need the perfect environment, the perfect energy level, the perfect hour-long session.
And then life happens. They're tired or busy or distracted, so they skip it entirely because they can't do it perfectly. That's the trap.
Whereas if you just show up for 10 minutes, even on your worst day, you're still building that neural pathway. You're still telling your brain this matters.
I track everything, right? And when I look back at my data, the correlation is crystal clear. The skills I've maintained long-term, all from daily practice. The ones that faded, those were the intense bursts followed by gaps. It's like compound interest for your brain. Small deposits every day create massive returns over time, but you have to trust the process when you can't see immediate results. That's the hardest part, because intensity feels productive in the moment. You finish a 3-hour session and you're exhausted. You feel accomplished. Daily practice feels almost too easy. But easy and sustainable beats hard and sporadic, every time. And here's something most people don't realize. Your brain actually learns better when you're not forcing it. True, because when you're relaxed and consistent, you're in a better state for encoding memories. Stress hormones actually interfere with learning, so that intense pressured study session, less effective than you think. So if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. 15 minutes today is worth more than 3 hours next week. Show up tired, show up distracted, show up with only 10 minutes. Just show up. Because your future self isn't built in one heroic effort. It's built in 1,000 small, unremarkable moments of just doing the thing. And speaking of showing up, let me tell you about someone who actually did this. Someone who proved that this isn't just theory. So here's where it gets real. Maria walks into her Monday morning meeting. Same conference room, same colleagues. But something's different this time. Her manager asks for project updates, and Maria just speaks. No panic, no mental translation gymnastics. That's the thing about consistency. You don't notice the shift until you're already doing it. She's not thinking in Portuguese anymore, then converting to English. The research backs this up. When you think directly in English, you eliminate translation lag. Your brain stops doing double work. She presents her ideas clearly, uses phrases she practiced, and here's the kicker. Her manager says, "Great work, Maria, keep it up."
Perfect moment to learn that phrase. Keep it up means continue doing well. It's encouragement to maintain your good performance.
And Maria understands it immediately. No dictionary lookup, no confusion. That's what I call quiet fluency.
Quiet fluency, I love that term. It appears gradually through consistency. You don't wake up fluent. You wake up one day and realize you've been fluent for weeks.
The data shows habit formation takes about 66 days on average. Maria's been at this for 2 months. The neural pathways are built.
After the meeting, her colleague asked how she improved so fast. Maria's answer, I just showed up every day.
No magic app, no expensive course, just 15 minutes daily. That's the optimization play everyone misses.
Because we're always looking for the hack, the shortcut. But sometimes the shortcut is just doing the boring thing consistently.
Maria's confidence didn't come from one perfect study session. It came from 60 imperfect ones that she actually completed.
And now she's the person others ask for advice. That's when you know the system works. So here's what Maria's story really teaches us.